On this episode of Around the Coin, I interviewed Alex Shevchenko, the CEO of Aurora Labs. Alex has a Ph.D. in physics and math, and he's been working in the blockchain since 2015. He was previously at Near Foundation and started Aurora Labs and has since launched Aurora Plus and a few other projects that we talked about. We talked about mainly this big problem in the crypto world of how treasuries give grants to new apps, new projects building on top of those protocols. So for instance, Aurora Labs wants app developers to build apps on top of Aurora, the token. But how do you incentivize people? How do you pay them? 90% of projects, 90% of proposals out there for money to build on top of these protocols are scam or fraudulent. So we talked all about his ideas to solve that and other problems as well. Alex is incredibly technical, but he's also very macro thinking, and he has accomplished a lot in building out Aurora Labs. So I very much enjoyed this conversation, and I hope you do as well. Here is Alex Shevchenko. Alex, we're live. Thanks for jumping on today. I love what you're working on with Aurora Labs. A little bit of context, your background, a PhD in math. You've worked at Near Protocol previous, so it seems like you're perfectly suited to be building what you're building at Aurora. In your own words, what was it when you started Aurora that made you realize that this is the place you wanted to spend the next 5+ years of your life? Where did you see the gap in the market back then?
Yeah, Mike, thanks for having me here. So everything started even before Aurora. So during my time at Bitfury, I used to work at Bitfury, started in 2015. So I cannot say that I'm super early in crypto, but pretty early in crypto. I reconnected once again with my schoolmate Ilya, and he said to me that he's building Near protocol, and we were starting in 2018. We were on the radar of each other, and when I became a free agent, he invited me to join Near. So I joined Near for several months. We tried out what it is about working together. And at the point when Ilya understood that everything is going great, he was just coming to me and saying, hey, we probably should spin off everything that is Ethereum-centric for Near protocol. And these are two products, Rainbow Bridge, which is the trustless bridge in between Ethereum and Near, and also Aurora, and Aurora itself. At that moment, it was not named Aurora. It was just an EVM on top of Near. So that was the point when everything started, and I started to think about it. But I said to Ilya, look, we need to release it first, both of the products, and then we can think about spin-off. So about the gap. So from my point of view, the gap is actually in there are two sides of it. The general saying is about scaling, but there are two sides of it. One side is just technologically scaling blockchain to be able to host many people. And from the other side, and the other phase of this problem is that the user experience needs to be suited for millions of people. And current blockchain user experience, how to say it, it is just disgusting, I would say. So this all of the things about gas, stuck transactions, the need for replay of the transactions and stuff like that. This is very, very complicated. And especially for, Zoomers who are just clicking their phones, looking at their phones, approving the transactions in their mobile banks, like it doesn't work. So yeah, one side technologically make sure that the blockchain can host many people, and second, making sure that these people are actually able to use it. So this is, from my point of view, the gap that exists right now.
And did you feel at that time that the natural trajectory of the product, whether it's Near or Ethereum or apps on Ethereum, weren't heading in the direction of making the user experience better? Because naturally, I would think that that would be an evolution. You know, you get a product out the door, it's scrappy, but as you continue to grow, things look and feel better. Is that was that not the internal dialogue amongst the dev team and the early contributors?
There was I was looking into it a little bit like that. So from my point of view, blockchain community right now is like a teenager, right? So we are going on a hangouts, we are making parties in between each other. We're saying that our parents Web2 they know nothing, and we are going to start a revolution here and all of this stuff, right? Self-sovereign identities, code is the law, all of these manifestos, right? So this is very, very like teenagers. And then teenagers in their late 20s, they say, okay, maybe my parents actually know something. And I'm for sure convinced that Web2 people know a lot about things. They know how to onboard millions and tens of millions of people. They know how to scale the systems. They know how to convert all of these people into kind of somebody who pays, right? So different business models are out there. So from that point of view, I just believe that we need to learn from Web2 and apply these techniques. This thing was for a very long period of time missing. I'm a tech guy. I'm in that kind of devs gigs and all of the I'm enjoying spending time with them and inventing kind of algorithms and figuring out how to make sure that things are trustless. But from the other standpoint, I understand that in case we're progressing only in this direction, crypto is not going to be successful. Somebody needs to stand out and do something. There are some other projects that are trying to go into this direction, but we are raising this as a flag to make sure the mass adoption is actually happening.
And give me a sense of where the project is now. You started 2 years ago. I see just on the coin market cap, the valuation of the market cap of Aurora is around 115 million. Seems to be about 15 people full time. This is just LinkedIn. Like in the things that matter to you, where are you on the roadmap?
Yeah, so two of our products, Rainbow Bridge and Aurora itself, are around 1 year in production. With the Rainbow Bridge, we have several billion of assets crossed from Ethereum to Near and back. In our Rainbow Bridge smart contracts, we hold more than 1 billion worth of assets, mainly stable coins. These things are under constant attacks, and these attacks are actually automatically mitigated. So several weeks ago, it was a kind of attack, and it gained attention of the crypto Twitter, at least. Aurora is in production also, so the EVM itself is in production also for 1 year. There are no hacks of the Aurora, and I believe we're fully in production. The token itself, right? It was the decision of the DAO. So the DAO was launched, and DAO decided that we need to create a mechanism for more decentralized governance. And for this, they said that, okay, the token must be there. So we're not using Aurora token as a fee token, as a base token, as they say. So this is only the governance token. And yeah, we still need to implement this more democratic kind of governance. But pretty recently, we launched our third product, which is called Aurora Plus. And this is our move towards the better user experience. Now, in terms of where we are, I know at least about 2 big products that we need to release. Without them, I do not feel that that we are actually getting to our goal, and I don't think that the infrastructure is fully set up. So I see our mission into building the infrastructure that will empower people, that will give them an ability to launch many applications for lots of people, right? And in order to get there, we still need to release several things. So something is in production, it works, we're maintaining it, we're continuing the development, but there are also some additional things that we need to do. So we're somewhere in the middle.
A teenager. What are the things that you need to, what do you need? What are these two products that you need to get out the door?
So one of them is in the stealth mode, so I cannot share lots of it, but it is in the direction for scaling that on the tech side, right? Aurora Plus is our solution for the user experience, and this product is our solution for the scaling on the technological side. The second one is much more straightforward. So this is the community treasury platform. We would like to build, according to Aurora token economy, 20% of the tokens are allocated to the community treasury. And the idea behind it is pretty simple. This is something that needs to be governed and managed by the Aurora token holders. And the goal of this money is investing into Aurora ecosystem, make sure that it is blooming. So we need to build a convenient platform for this. And we were actually building it. We were creating an MVP that is based on the kind of Kickstarter type of ideas. We didn't like it. And now we did the pivot there and building something different. So this is literally the community treasury platform. We want to deliver it actually pretty fast. I don't think that it's going to take more than several months for us.
And when you say community treasury platform, are you describing a way to decide how to distribute funds from the treasury into new projects?
In general, yes. However, there is some kind of additional flavor to it, right? So one option that is executed by all of the different projects out there is actually grants programs, right?
Right.
So teams are coming asking for the grants, and grants are allocated to them, usually in the token of the project. These teams are dumping these tokens and go into the next, doing nothing almost, and go into the next blockchain.
Wow.
This is what is happening in 90% of the cases.
90? 90?
Yeah, 90, yeah. Unfortunately. So like there are people that are free riders that are trying to do this.
Yeah.
Pretty often at the moment, Aurora also has an operational grant program, and literally we are looking at the projects, and 9 out of 10 of them are either directly scam, or they are just reapplying from other blockchains and stuff like that. So they already got the grant. So unfortunately, people do not want to build; they want to get money, and that's it. And so grants are not working, right? This is, from my point of view, this is something that, like, with the grants in the way how they are created at the moment, I do not see the light in the end of the tunnel. However, there are other approaches that are working. So Kickstarter itself is a very popular crowdfunding platform. And imagine that on top of Kickstarter, we can use community treasury as additional incentives. So it is an incentive. It is like a cashback incentive to the people who are investing in the projects. It is an incentive, a long-term incentive for the projects that are built in on Aurora. So, for example, the tokens that are allocated to the projects, they are not just transferred to them, but they are transferred within the time frame of multiple years. Why the team who started the project has long-term incentives, and other projects in the ecosystem do not have these long-term incentives. This is some kind of, from my point of view, strange kind of division, and better to fix it, right? So we can use this money from the community treasury as incentive. So this is not a grant. It's people who are investing in the projects, yes, but they are getting a cashback. Yes, okay, this is good. And then the projects also getting the long-term incentives. This is a new type of kind of platform. But the ideas from the Kickstarter or similar platforms are obviously applicable.
And it's effectively a pledge. If you come to me and you say, or I come to you, let's say, and you're holding the treasury for the Aurora DAO, and I say I want to build something, you're saying today, right now, 90% of the applications are not just for Aurora, but across the board for other projects are either fraudulent or people are just taking the money and leaving, and they're acting fraudulently.
Or they already developed something and they're just applying it. They are pretending that this thing is not existent. But in fact, what they're changing is they literally switching one EVM network into the other, and that's it. And there are quite a lot of different EVM networks. So
yeah, I think it's safe to call that fraud. So at least if you were a founder and you raised money from investors and pulled technology from some other startup and then showed investors that this is what you built and took the money and ran, you would be sued. Absolutely no question about it. So because we don't have the kind of, I almost look at it as it's a function of the incentive system or the system, where if you're just giving someone tokens and you don't need any sort of litigation upon their diligence or their performing, then it kind of opens the door. But I like your suggestion. So if you have Kickstarter just representing this idea that the compensation is going to be paid contingent upon the deliverables. So I pay you when you ship something. In the case of Kickstarter, people pay $100 for a new pair of shoes that light up in the bottom. If the company can ship these shoes, then they get paid. But is that the mechanics even in Kickstarter? I thought Kickstarter was actually the money gets sent to the projects, and then the contributors got some sort of free thing or discounted thing if that happened.
Yeah, so it is closer to the second thing. However, in order for you to be able to list a project on Kickstarter, you need to be verified. Kickstarter need to understand what you're doing. In case Kickstarter users are complaining about the quality of the project, then some actions are going to be applied to you. So it is not. There is some kind of rigorous assessment of what is happening, and usually it is not happening with grants program because companies who are running grants, they have lots of their own stuff to do. They need to develop protocols. They need to, kind of think about that stuff. And believe me, there are lots of things in the protocol development. It is a very, very complicated task. It's just not enough attention. And the problem there is also in the fact that there is a misalignment of incentives. And I believe this is the major problem why, and this is the major reason why grants program are not working. So imagine somebody who is running the grants program. This is a guy that is working for business development team, right, or something. He has his own incentives, long-term incentives, and this is his main kind of thing that he has. And his goal is to, increase the amount of projects. How these projects are going to increase the value of the ecosystem, we're not sure. We're even not sure whom of these projects who receive the grants are going to launch. And but you need to deploy money in with the hope that this is going to, with the hope that this somehow is going to influence the ecosystem. On the contrary, there is an absolutely different type of approach, like accelerators. And these accelerators are providing some services, and they're taking the equity of these projects, right? In case we're talking about, the ordinary businesses, they're taking the equity, and this is their payment. They are much closer to the success. Instead of the success of the ecosystem of the startups, they're taking the equity of very specific startups, and they see the value in these startups succeeding. So here is the difference, right? Mythical startup ecosystem versus particular startups, right? And that's the difference. And this is something that needs to be implemented. With the Kickstarter type of model, then people, community, is investing in the projects. They are getting tokens of these projects, and they are monitoring closely it. So we have here, so like people are investing and they are taking care of this. And like I'm going to invest in some kind of infrastructure type of projects. I'm not going to invest in the games because this is closer to me. I cannot just throw out money and just not think about it. And I'm following the updates from the project, and this is something that is close to me. So this is what we are trying to implement. This is what we are trying to introduce there, an ability for the community to be to diversify in between different projects and be a controlling entity for this project.
So in the sense that one of the key distinguishing factors between the current grants system, which is not working, and the accelerator model and Web 2, which does work, is that you mentioned a couple of things. One is the filtration of the startups. So choosing good startups matters. And then having the correct incentive system, meaning that in the traditional Web 2 world, the tech accelerators would own a piece of the company, anywhere from 1% to 15% of the company typically. And therefore they're incentivized to pour resources, it could be money or advisor time or whatever it is, into the company with the benefit of the upside. That model, YC, Techstars, and a whole host of others have proved that out. Would that look like in the decentralized world? Would it look like individuals or teams of people come to they come to Aurora and they say, hey, we want to raise $100,000 US, or maybe there's a template offer. It's like 100,000 for 5% of the, this is where I'm a little confused as how it would look. So in the case of the typical, say, LLC or standard company, it's an app that's built on top of a protocol. Like an app doesn't have to be decentralized, right? It can use the benefits of the blockchain and still be a standard company. I mean, tell me if you see it differently, but you could run the same tactics all the way through an accelerator on top of crypto. But
Absolutely.
Yeah, tell me
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. So like you're pulling all of the secrets, but okay, I'm absolutely happy to share it. So we're actually trying to implement the model of another great platform that allows similar behavior, but it is better suited for this kind of community and the more diverse and more decentralized kind of decision making. And this is the well-known platform AngelList, right? So we're trying to implement something like that. So again, the idea is pretty simple. New teams are appearing. There is a specific set of people who are actually having the access to these teams. These are angel investors, maybe ecosystem funds, different VCs. They're having the access to these people. Ordinary token holders, unfortunately, do not have the access to these teams. And at the moment when they are exposed to these teams, it is already for sure not the seed stage. So the idea here is to bridge the gap and give an ability for individual investors to invest at the early stage while not having all of that connections. So imagine the angel list that is working with a syndicate leads. So the people who are actually bringing projects in as angel investors from Aurora and Near ecosystem, and also VCs that are also might be sharing some kind of portion of their own deal together with the community. And then the community is able to invest their own stable coins while everybody are getting the cashback or long-term incentives in form of the Aurora token from the community treasury. This is something that we are building. This is something that we believe is a much, much better setup for deploying community money in order to achieve better results in terms of the ecosystem development.
So I love it. My immediate thought is how does this fit into the bigger picture? Because to me, Aurora is great, and it'd be fantastic if you had this. However, there does seem to be a bigger consolidation opportunity where it's like, yeah, you have this problem, so does Near, so does, I can name 15 other projects that also have this problem. It would seem to me that if I'm a token holder of Aurora, I probably also have Ethereum and Bitcoin and 10 other projects. So if I could go to one place, I'm less interested in the specific currency or the specific protocol, and I'm more interested on the higher level, like what is this app doing? And then I'd like to be able to see visibility into the app layer as opposed to, going to Aurora. Judging by the way you smiled, I'm guessing this is a thought that you've had. Do you see this as something that's applicable across the market or Aurora specific?
Absolutely. I do believe that that projects that would be able to use this Aurora Treasury, they might be even not the projects that are launched on Aurora. But maybe they are just considering launching on Aurora in the longer term. But it is easier for them to build something somewhere else, right? I do not think that we are going to limit anyone there, but you are absolutely right that this is a part of the bigger picture, right? What is the point in the community treasury giving out the money? The point is that the platform is going to take a cut in the project tokens. Now, what the platform is going to do with these project tokens? And here comes into the picture an interesting value accrual mechanics of the Aurora token. So many layer 1 protocols are forcing their users to buy their own token in order to pay for the transaction fees. This is true for Bitcoin, for Ethereum, for Near, and for other blockchains. From my point of view, this is a mistake, and this is not something that is bringing the value to the token. If we will calculate all of the fees that were consumed in Ethereum within the past year, totally they constitute around 1% of the total market cap of Ethereum. Which means if you are looking at Ethereum as a business, it means that the valuation of the company is 100 times more than the revenues. And I'm not even, then this is revenues, this is not even profits, right? Because miners also need to pay for the electricity, buy new equipment and all of this stuff. This is insane. For ordinary companies, the coefficient goes from 5 to 12 or something like that, no more than that. And this is for Ethereum, the most expensive blockchain out there. For many blockchains, this coefficient, like the fees are constituent like 0.001% or something like that. The value is not in the fees. The value is in the ecosystem that is built on top of these blockchains. If you will take a look at TVL of Ethereum, then it is about half of the market cap of Ethereum. That's the reason. And DeFi is the biggest use case, right? So it is the ecosystem that is saying so. And actually, ordinary people in the world also understanding it. Let's take a look at Dubai. 0 taxes. Does it mean that Dubai city worth nothing? I do not think that Dubai Sheikh is going to sell me Dubai for $0, right? The value is obviously there. It's just not in the fees. It is not in the taxes. It is in the projects that are there. It is for Dubai. It is in the businesses that are there. So if we would, and imagine the following thing. If you are a citizen of Dubai, and because of the law, you're getting a share in all of the projects and all of the businesses that are working in the Dubai. Wouldn't it be a great value share mechanism? So the way how it works with Aurora token is the following. People are Aurora token holders are able to stake Aurora token, and as a reward to it, they receive the tokens of different projects that are working on Aurora. Staking Aurora, you become a citizen. Receiving the rewards and different project tokens, you're becoming a shareholder or kind of an owner, partly owning these protocols, these other protocols. And here we have community treasury. It takes the cut in the project tokens that are launching on Aurora, and they're streaming these tokens back to the Aurora community. And moreover, this is like, it is not set in stone. This is something that the community will be able to work on. There is this mechanism. It is implemented. But the community, the market will push the projects to actually share their portion of the token with the community back. And because of the very, very simple kind of open market thought. Imagine two projects are coming to the Aurora Treasury and asking, hey, please invest in us. One project is saying, invest in us and you're going to receive nothing. And there is another, or like only the investors are going to get something, the community is not going to get anything. Or there is another project that is saying, invest in us, we're going to do absolutely the same thing. We're going to deliver to the investors absolutely the same tokens, but we also going to deliver to the community some portion of our tokens. Which projects is going to be voted for?
It's kind of interesting.
Where people are going to invest.
Yeah. So effectively, the reason why a project would be incentivized to have this sort of secondary, the word dividend comes to mind, because I think of that as a publicly traded equity or a company would give money quarterly to shareholders based on the number of shares they have. And that's a secondary means of compensation in addition to the value creation from the share itself. So if I buy Apple at $100, it goes to $1,000. I now have 10 times more wealth because I bought it. Even if I didn't sell it, it's still unrealized gains. The dividend is a direct payment, to me for owning this share. And so the stock could drop and I could still be getting paid. And people like that feeling of having the consistency. I almost view it as when you describe the economics of the compensation to investors, it's similar to the stock going up. The investors want the project to grow, maybe to sell or to liquidate in some way to get a return. And then the shareholders, by analogy, would be the Aurora community who is staking. So if I'm staking, then I'm getting a percentage of return of that project. To parse the idea out a little more, it would seem like the staking is, would it be dependent on, would I stake a specific project on Aurora, or would I just generally stake the Aurora coin and then I'm receiving the sort of collective bounty from the different projects?
Yeah, you're just taking only a single token, Aurora token, and then you're receiving all of these bounties from all of the different tokens. And like these bounties are actually the project tokens. So it is not like dividends, but it is actually stock, but only some portion, right? So, and this is literally an exchange. So remember, I was telling about the long-term incentives for the projects, right? So within multiple years, project founders are going to receive Aurora tokens from the community treasury. While the same holds true for this stock. According to the same schedule, community is going to receive some kind of reserved amount of project tokens. It is going to be slow. It is not going to disturb anybody, but for the Aurora stakers or like Aurora citizens, these people are actually will be able to get this value.
So let's take an example. So say you had 10 projects on top of Aurora Coin, and over the course of, let's call it 1 year, these 10 projects were funded. Maybe they had a syndicate on top of this platform, and they each raised $1 million for round numbers. So now we have 10 operational companies that are building apps on top of Aurora, with a total funding distributed being 10 million. What are the mechanics of the, so now we'll take, say there's 1,000 Aurora accounts that are staking.
Let me guide. Let me guide you through
Thank
this.
you.
Yeah. So these 10 projects were raised from the investors that are among Aurora community.
Mm-hmm.
They were investing stable coins. They were getting this money, and these projects are capable of operating, and they turned out in the operational businesses. These people were getting some project tokens, but the community treasury was also given to the investors a little bit of Aurora as a cashback, and it was allocating to the projects also some portion of the Aurora that is going to be exchanged over time into the project tokens.
Oh, okay. Can I pause you right there for a second? Would you consider the Aurora Treasury as just one of the investors? So just one of
you
many
can think of it like that. Yeah. You can think of the platform. It's even not the investors. It's people who are investing, but Aurora Treasury is creating additional benefits. In the angel list model, angel list itself is not investing; it's just taking a cut. While here, Aurora Treasury, on the contrary, is going to give some additional benefits and also for this cut, right? So it is not just a passive consumer of the value that is created.
So would Aurora Coin Aurora Treasury would need to make decisions on which projects to invest in and how much?
No, it's people. It's just everything is going to be in the smart contracts. It is either Aurora, a community, investing in the project, and then everything happens, or they are not investing and then nothing happens. This is. I believe that this is a secret sauce. Everybody are moving into DAOs, and I believe by now people understood that DAOs are very inefficient and incapable of making educated decisions, especially and especially in the questions of kind of technological upgrades, the directions of the development and stuff like that. But everybody in crypto, better or worse, are able to invest in the projects, and this is something that everybody does, which means the knowledge is there. And what we're trying to utilize here is actually this knowledge. There are lots of people on the community. The community somehow decides whether to invest or not. And this is a truly community decision. And this decision is somewhat kind of educated. So people know how to do that stuff. Crypto is growing, or in general as an industry. So it means that probably people are investing or like knowing a little bit something about it, and we're trying to extract this knowledge from it. So people invest in case the investment is done well. It means that people probably feel that something is going to be good out of this project, and well, who knows? Maybe in 60 cases out of 100. This is actually going to work, and now we're getting this knowledge, and we are just using it.
Yeah, I love this idea. I'm so fascinated by it because it seems like if you nail it, it's one of these things that can not only work for Aurora and increase the, what would you call it, the productivity of the grant money in the treasury, right? But it would also do it for just about every other company, every other protocol, every other treasury, if you can create the right incentive structure. Do you think of kind of back to the technical question, do you think of it as a binary? Like, would the DAO either vote yes or no to make an investment into a project, or is it more up to the individual to say, yes, I'm willing to put in $100 worth of Aurora into this project, and then projects just raise what they raise?
I think we can start with a simple model. However, over time, it is going to be developed. So as far as I understand, in Kickstarter, there is a way how projects are able to set up different targets. And depending on the targets, they are going to deliver more. So I'm going to start the kind of woodworking shop. In case you will give to me 20K. But if you will give to me 50K, I would be able to hire one additional person for me. So we would be able to scale the production and stuff like that. So these some kind of goals, I think it's a natural expansion of the idea.
Yeah. And you're thinking beyond Aurora on this, right? You think allow this to be available to every different protocol out there?
In general, yes. So obviously, the focus at the very beginning is going to be around Aurora and building the ecosystem. In the end, this is the Aurora ecosystem treasury, right? Our community treasury. But in case, imagine the following situation: there is an angel, and there is a project that is coming to this angel investor and is saying, we are building a bridge, the best bridge in the world for whatever, for NFTs. So, and they cannot be tied only to Aurora, but this project has a token, right? And they need to, they are willing to raise money. They have some kind of ideas on how to do it. And they're saying, yeah, please invest in us. And the angel thinks that this is a great project. Why not to offer it to Aurora community also to invest? And then there is obviously a bridge cannot be located only on a single blockchain. So it is kind of multi-blockchain thing, but it is Aurora community who invested in this initiative, and it is Aurora community who is going to get back the tokens through this mechanism, through the staking mechanism. Why it is bad? It is not bad. It is just given an ability for people not to be bounded by a single ecosystem, but rather, kind of expand. And I believe everybody are going to win from this move.
Super interesting. And are you in the design phase of this, or ideation phase, or building phase?
We're in the building phase, yes.
It's awesome. I love that. Well, I'll put that aside for a minute, but I can't wait to see where you go with this. On the tokenomics, when you started, how did you decide, what were the key decisions in creating the tokenomics of Aurora? What were things that you really deliberated on, and how long did you spend, and what was the research portion of the project like early on?
So the answer is very quick. I was not, spending lots of time on this, and actually the token economy and again launching the token was in the hands of the DAO. So my goal as a tech guy, as a lead for the tech for the development company, was actually to launch this thing, to launch Rainbow Bridge, to launch Aurora, to launch Aurora Plus that we launched, and then we are thinking about launching these additional products. Right? This is the only thing that we are focused on. However, Aurora DAO has 13 members at the moment, and these are very prominent companies. Aurora Labs is occupying only one seat, so we are controlling like 7.5% of the decision making. While there are others, and these others are kind of reputable companies and people, including Consensus, Etherscan, Infura, who else? Dodo Finance, 1inch, and then also there are some VCs in the mix, like Pantera, Dragonfly, Lemniscap, and others. So the DAO is pretty diverse. There are different people with different kind of ideas and different outlook on the ecosystem, and it was just the discussion. Okay, we just started to have this already. We didn't want, as a development company, to launch a token because from our point of view, from the decentralization point of view, we do believe that this should not happen centrally when there is a single entity who is controlling it. It's some kind of strange. And then the question is, we do not want to force our users to pay fees in our token. Then the question is, why do you want to have a token, right? So instead of doing it, we proposed to the community to launch a DAO. The DAO was formed. And then the DAO in the discussions was raising the concern that it is not enough. 13 reputable members, good companies, it is not enough for the true decentralization. And the only way that they see how the things can work forward is that there is a token, and token holders are able to voice their opinions. So, moreover, up until now, there is no kind of final decision on everything. So there is a decision that, okay, Aurora token should be there. It should be a governance token. Pretty straightforward. Because of this, it is not a currency. It is just the representation of the voting rights. So there is no need for it to be, for example, inflationary. So it has a fixed supply of 1 billion assets. Okay. The token was created. All of the supply was transferred to the DAO. Now the question, what to do with it? Now the DAO need to decide what are the buckets. And I can say that only some things are decided. For example, this 20% for the community treasury, but there is a whole bunch of tokens that are sitting in the DAO smart contract, and there is no final decision how these tokens are going to be deployed and how they are going to be used. But this is the question to the DAO, and they still need to decide. So I believe this kind of approach to the token economy is pretty aligned with the Agile manifesto. Like let's build as we go. Because we cannot plan from the very beginning everything, whether we need to kind of shift things and all of the stuff. Okay, we know that this is a governance token. This is good. We know that there should be two use cases. One is the value capture. The second is the governance use case. Okay, for the governance use case, we are going to, in order to do it, we need to have a staking mechanism similar to proof of stake, right? In proof of stake blockchains, the governance are done by the validators who are staking the tokens. And okay, we need to have a staking mechanism so people are not able to game the system in case they're voting on something. Okay, the staking needs to be there. That's clear. Okay, then the community treasury, it needs to be built because we can use this knowledge of investing into crypto projects. So let's use it. What else people can do? Well, probably the only thing that in order not to overcomplicate the situation, the only thing that normally people are doing with their governance rights is from time to time go into elections, which means that the DAO should have a council seat. And these councils should be elected sometimes once a year, once every 2 years or something like that. And then people who are staking tokens, they are able to elect these people. So that's the concept. Moreover, this concept is not yet fully finalized. So there is this idea, but the DAO members are still discussing. And again, anyone can join these discussions on our governance forum. And then, like, there is a giant pile of money that is there that doesn't have any application at the moment. So it still needs to be decided. But DAO has this powerful tool of quite a big budget for it to figure it out. And I am pretty comfortable with knowing that not everything is determined at this point. And that's not a problem, right? Mm-hmm. We just build as we go. And what DAO, and we just, as a development company, we're just listening to the directions of the DAO. They're saying, okay, you need to, once the governance kind of, the voting mechanics is going to be finished, well, then we are going to implement it, right? But right now we're just not doing it because it is still in the discussions.
Interesting. And behind the scenes, how is it, 13 individual, you call them, they're not board members, constituents on the DAO. Is it frustrating do you feel like you're herding cats sometimes when you have high profile members, constituents, to get them to either voice their opinions or actually, I've been on the board of startups before, and even when you have 4 board members trying to get signatures for, whether it's like a transaction that the company's making, or like equity compensations for people, like anytime you need signatures from multiple people, it's hard, especially when people are high profile. Is that a reality, a frustrating reality behind the scenes? And I'm also curious, how do you actually encode their decision into the DAO? I mean, the DAO, I almost feel like sometimes we say the DAO as if it's this thing we worship, like this great DAO, but you have to program it into a smart contract, right?
Absolutely. So everything is happening on the chain. Everything is in the smart contract. And the actual voting is happening in the smart contract, right? Whether it is the allocation of some assets or just the poll, or maybe some kind of interaction with other smart contracts that are out there. It is happening like that. The thing that we developed, and yes, I'm with you, it is frustrating, it is hard, because first of all, high-profile individuals, they do have their own stuff, and they need to take care of it. This is something that that from my point of view, would be able to overcome with the elections. And I was actually proposing to the DAO members to say that, okay, councils are similar to the parliament, and the people in the parliament, they're getting paid, and this is their day-to-day job. They need to, like, people who are trying to get the seat there, they must understand that this should be at least their half-time job, right? Mm-hmm. Or better, full-time job, to think about the ecosystem and making sure that they are navigating it to the better future. So this is one thing. And another thing is improving the user experience. So in order to improve, to simplify the interaction with the smart contract to the DAO members, our friends from some people from the near ecosystem developed a very convenient Telegram bot, where you are actually able to click a couple of buttons and vote on the proposals directly from your smartphone in the Telegram. And this is actually a transaction that is happening on the near blockchain. So the convenience means everything here. In case you're able to open the DAO group, or open the chat with this bot, check on the active proposals, look in the details of the proposal, maybe read a forum article about it. And in case you're okay with it, you just click one button, literally, and then the bot creates a transaction on your blockchain. Transaction is going to the smart contract, everything executed, boom, it's done. So this thing is already there. We're using it, and literally DAO in the Telegram, with everything happening, with everything secure and happening on the blockchain. Again, user experience here matters a lot. And that simplifies things.
One more quick question: when a question is going to be put forth to the community members, how is the question? Like, who submits the question on the bot? Maybe not Telegram specifically, but whether it's on Telegram or whether it's on the forum, is that like you?
Anyone is able to do it.
Okay, but
anyone is able to do it.
Got it. So there could be 100 questions at once being pulled.
Absolutely. Yeah. In general, yes. Yes. So there is some kind of flow. To my shame, I cannot fully reproduce it, but there is some kind of flow on the governance forum. There are moderators that are sitting there, and people are able to create topics. They are able to do to propose stuff. But in general, from the standpoint of the smart contract, anyone is able to create proposals. It's just in case the proposal is strange, and then obviously people just going to skip it and not going to vote it on it, which means that it's going to expire, and it's the same as people were voting no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there any other projects that you're particularly excited about, or you find that they're taking a unique and kind of innovative solution? I mean, even the things we covered in this conversation with the platform to invest in new apps, the parliamentary idea with voting seats. Are there other ideas that you've heard thrown around from other projects that you have piqued your interest?
So I'm extremely happy with everything that we are developing within our initiative recently launched Aurora Plus. I encourage everybody to take a look at the presentation of Aurora Plus. It is 20-minute video that we did on the YouTube. It is I would say high end for the crypto projects. And this is I'm really excited about this development. So. Actually, to give you a sense what Aurora Plus is, I can explain it with the one-liner. Literally, Aurora Plus is your Apple account. It makes your Apple device personalized to you. This is what Apple account is doing. You feel personal when you're using this particular device because it knows who you are.
Right.
It knows your applications. It can download your photos on your device and all of this stuff. So Apple Plus, Aurora Plus is doing absolutely the same. It personalizes the usage of the blockchain, and the most important thing, what it does, it personalizes I'm going to say something crazy. It personalizes the gas prices for you. And what we did, we implemented the very first and very simple concept. It's just we're given to all of the users who created their Aurora Plus account 50 free transactions a month. While some people are paying or they are using the free transactions and they are paying literally zero for the execution of the transactions, the others already exceeded this amount and they are paying more than that. There are lots of interesting tech involved in it, but over the time, what we're going to do with it, we're going just to transform the payments for the usage of the blockchains into the subscriptions. Absolutely the same thing that happened with the mobile networks in the end of 90s, beginning of zeros. We have been paying per second or per minute or per SMS, right? You remember that?
Yeah, totally.
And now everything converged into I'm just buying 10 gigabytes of data and that's it. I'm just not thinking about minutes. I'm not thinking about all the stuff. It is convenient. And moreover, it automatically renews. It takes the payment from my card and I'm just not thinking of it. It goes somewhere else, right? It just works. We're trying to bring absolutely the same look and feel for the blockchain. Why people need to think about payment per transactions? There is no need to do it. We can change it. And this is what we're doing with Aurora Plus. Moreover, why it is me who needs to think about it, about my transactions on the blockchain, about payments for my transactions. Just think of it. Again, Web 2 kind of example. I'm a user of a YouTube. I know that YouTube business model is either I'm watching the ads or I'm buying a subscription. I'm paying $5 per month or something like that. This is the thing that is exposed to me. This is a business model of the YouTube. Now, do I think about the servers that they are renting in the cloud? Probably Google Cloud, right? Do I think about the content delivery networks that they're using? Do I pay for every gigabyte of the videos that I'm watching on the storage solutions? am I paying for the Cloudflare that YouTube is using?
Right.
Am I exposed to it? Like I even do not think of it. We are so used to this stuff, to the segregated business models, that's
Right.
just this is the bread and butter of the everyday Web 2.
It's kind of interesting.
So why do I need to think about ETH fees when I'm using Uniswap? Why do I need, like, what's the reason? It just complicates it. In case I'm using Uniswap, I have one business model. You just pay some kind of percentage of the fee on the swap. Okay, that's straightforward. Why I need to think about the fact that transactions on Ethereum, they cost something, and depending on other applications, I need to pay more or less, right? This is the complex thing. So I'm even not saying about stuff for example, for mobile games. Like they're blockchain gaming is not working.
Right. So this would be to say, so on the case of YouTube, every time I play a video, it costs Google YouTube money. I mean, it's some very, very, very small amount of money, but bandwidth costs money. The same way when I move Ether around, it costs some miner has to do some work somewhere to record that and distribute that information. The idea being that cost is going to decrease over time, and that if I'm somebody who uses Ether a lot, then I want to be able to just pay a flat fee. So the value proposition I think of to the consumer who's using it is price predictability. I can say it's guaranteed to cost me, YouTube is going to cost you $5 this month, $5 next month, and $5 a month after, regardless of how many videos you watch. And you don't feel ripped off if you don't go on YouTube for a month. I mean, after a few months of not using it, attrition happens and you drop off. But you don't, it somehow removes the concept of paying per product or per video, instead of like per the community. So it's almost that and I think why it hasn't happened yet, my guess is that you think of YouTube as a community, and it's almost like a gym membership I pay for to get access to, and the same in Netflix and elsewhere. Whereas in Ether and Bitcoin and everywhere else, it's so Wild West that you're just there's no lines. It's just like you use Uniswap to move between all these cryptos, and to effectively you'd be drawing a box around a currency and say, this is the world you're in, and you pay $10 a month to get access to this world. We're going to make this world amazing. You can move around for free in this world. If you go outside this world, it's on you. YouTube doesn't govern Amazon, they don't govern Twitch. Super interesting.
Something like that. Something like that. But the most important piece here is that we just need to simplify stuff, right? And we need not to expose all of these complicated concepts to people. People normally do not know what the freaking CDN means, right?
Yeah. Content
Delivery Network. Who have ever heard it? But this is something that every day is used every time when you're consuming the content. But you just do not think. It's like I'm driving a car. I do not know anything about how the diesel engine is working. Like only the basic concepts, right? And there is no need to do it. The same thing with the blockchains. We are, as a teenagers, we are obsessed with our ideas. We are obsessed with all of this permissionless, trustless, decentralized stuff. And unfortunately, we are constantly failing as a community into delivering this to people who do not understand it. And because of this, blockchain is not growing. Take a look at the Etherscan stats on the growth of the number of addresses in Ethereum. The growth rate starts to decrease. It is insane. Just think of it. The growth rate, instead of being exponential, because more people are using, they constantly creating new addresses. It happens constantly. Usually, like, you just need to have an additional wallet, additional account, and stuff like that. But it decreases. People are not coming. they do not understand. The amount of people who are capable of understanding of it is kept. That's the problem. So we need to move it. And please, and to everybody who are thinking, well, the blockchain is special, it is a limited throughput there, and because of this, the gas prices can vary, and you cannot predict. I tell to all of these people, please stop. Please stop. Take a look at the amount of the cell towers out there. It is limited. Take a look at the amount of cross-Atlantic cables, internet cables. The throughput there is limited. But somehow people from the Web 2, the same people that you are blaming about all of the bad things happening in the world, but somehow these people are figured out how to balance the load. Somehow they figured out what to do with these situations, right? So instead of just doing the revolutions, let's learn. Let's learn. And we will also figure out how to balance the load. We will also figure out how to create the business models that are going to be sustainable and will be simple for people.
Alex, I love your ideas. I love your ideas specifically in how you sort of think outside of the box of what you're currently building, or maybe around the Aurora ecosystem. Like our conversation about the platform to invest in, to allow treasuries to distribute funds for new app projects to reduce fraud. Like that's a huge idea. That's like way beyond Aurora. I mean, no offense, obviously, but that's like an industry changing concept that it was fun to dive in with you on. Are you active on Twitter? Are you writing anywhere? Anything you want to throw out there in the world? We'll have links to all the Aurora related stuff, but anything personally on your side?
Absolutely. Absolutely. As a crypto guy, I must be active in Twitter because this is the natural media for crypto people to exchange opinions and socialize. So yeah, Alex Aurora Dev. This is my Twitter handle.
Nice.
You would be able to find mainly kind of technical stuff there, since I'm the technical guy.
Yeah. And I know pre-show we were talking about you're from Ukraine, you moved out of Ukraine now, but you've really contributed to the war that's going on. For people who are not deeply involved or not Ukrainian, is there anything that you think is helpful aside from just giving money? Is there anything else that comes to mind, or even if it is giving money, are there specific programs that you think of?
Absolutely. So there is a fund in case you're trying to find, in case you're in crypto and you're trying to find a good place, and you would like to support Ukraine and humanitarian initiatives there. There is a fund that we are working with as a company and me personally. It is called Unchained Fund. It was started by near founders. It was started by many crypto people, and altogether this fund is probably one of the best places where crypto people are able to make a difference in this unfortunate situation happening in the world.
Unchained. All right. Thanks so much, Alex. It's been a blast, and I hope you have you back on someday. Congrats, and keep doing your thing, man.
Absolutely. And thanks, Mike.
All right. Bye.